Varang is one of those characters that instantly looks like a villain before she even says a word. The posture, the paint, the headdress, everything about her design feels deliberate and intimidating. So for this challenge, I took one single reference image, kept the drawing waist up only, and redrew Varang in 4 completely different art styles. From grounded realism all the way to maximum cartoon chaos, just having fun with the style translation. Before jumping into the drawings, I need to explain why I picked Varang, because this wasn't random. I watched all 3 Avatar movies and look, I'll be honest, the second one, visually insane, technically incredible, but pacing-wise, yeah, it kind of felt like a very expensive aquarium tour. Still pretty, just boring. But the third movie, way more entertaining. And Varang is a huge reason for that. She doesn't monologue, she doesn't over-explain her trauma, she just stands there like she already knows she's a problem. And that confidence alone makes her terrifying. And apparently the internet felt that too, because the collective reaction was basically, oh no, she's hot! Suddenly, there's fan arts everywhere. Edits, comments, people absolutely losing their minds over this character. And honestly, I get it. She has that perfect villain combo. Sharp design, calm menace, zero wasted movement. Fandoms love that. That's good character design. So with all that in mind, I started what I always do, realism. For the realistic version, my main goal was to respect the original design without letting it turn stiff or over-rendered. Because when you go realistic, it's very easy to accidentally suck the life out of a character like this. The reference already does a lot of heavy lifting. The symmetrical red paint, the stark contrast between pale skin and dark accessories, and that intense forward gaze. Since this is a waist-up composition, I really had to rely on facial structure and texture to sell the presence. I started by blocking in the head shape, the shoulders first, making sure the posture stayed upright and confrontational. Even a slight slouch will completely change how threatening she feels. Her shoulders are square, her chin slightly forward, and her neck elongated. That alone already communicates dominance. From here, I focused heavily on the planes of the face. The cheekbones are sharp but not exaggerated. The brow ridge is subtle but strong, and the eyes sit deep enough to create natural shadows. I avoided overly sliced eye shapes here, realist lips or dyes by restraint. Skin texture was another big consideration. I didn't want her to look airbrushed or doll-like, so I layered in uneven tones. Cooler blues in the shadows, warmer reds around the nose, lips, and paint edges. Even though the paint itself is graphic, the skin underneath still needs to feel kind of alive. Speaking of the paint, that red stripe is a compositional anchor. In realism, bright colors can easily overpower the face, so I softened the edges slightly and let it interact with the skin texture instead of sitting flat on top. The paint needed to feel applied, not pasted. For the headdress and hair, I simplified the rendering more than you might expect. Instead of drawing every strand or feather individually, I grouped them into readable masses. At realistic scale, clarity beats detail. Lighting was kept fairly neutral but directional. A soft frontal light with subtle shadowing helps keep the facial expression readable without flattening the form. I didn't want dramatic lighting here. That comes later in other styles. Overall, this version is about credibility. It sets the baseline. If the realistic one works, every stylized version after feels intentional instead of random. Switching from realism to adventure time is always a mental reset. Here, anatomy rules go out the window, and shape language becomes everything. The challenge isn't how accurate can I be, but how little can I draw and still make her look recognizable. I started by completely rethinking the head. Adventure Time faces are basically circles with expressions glued on, so I simplified her skull down to a soft, rounded shape and let the eyes do the most of the acting. Big, flat, slightly too far apart, instantly readable. The facial paint becomes a single bold graphic stripe, no texture, no blending, no subtlety. In this style, if you hesitate, it shows. Confidence in line weight is key. Because this is waist up, I exaggerated the torso proportion slightly. Thinner arms, simplified chest, and very minimal indication of anatomy. Clothes and accessories turn into flat shapes instead of layered materials. The headdress was honestly the most fun part. Instead of detailed feathers, imply volume without actually rendering it. Adventure Time loves rhythm. Repeating shapes give the illusion of complexity without any effort. I avoided sharp angles unless they were intentional, because too many angles start to fight the softness of the style. Emotionally, this version shifts Varang from intimidating to oddly charming but still suspicious. She looks like the kind of character who smiles politely and then absolutely ruins your day. Now this is where I lean fully into my own visual language. With chibi, the rule is simple. Everything intimidating becomes adorable, whether you want it or not. The head gets bigger, the body gets smaller, and emotional readability jumps to the top priority. I pushed the head to the body ratio way up, keeping the shoulders narrow and the torso compact. Because it's waist up, I exaggerated the head even more to avoid the body feeling too dominant. The eyes are the main feature here. Large, sparkly and expressive, but I still kept her gaze calm and serious. That contrast between cute proportions and serious expression is what makes villain chibis work. The red face paint becomes almost decorative in the style. Clean edges, saturated color, and slightly rounded ends, so it doesn't feel aggressive. I simplified the headdress into layered shapes that frame the face instead of overpowering it. In chibi, too much detail near the head can clutter the silhouette fast. Color choices here are brighter and cleaner overall. Shadows are minimal. Over-rendering kills chibi faster than anything else. This version feels like the one people will turn into a sticker or emote, and that's intentional. It's friendly, approachable, and very shareable. But now, we take that cuteness even further. This was saved for less on purpose. Powerpuff Girls' style is graphic design disguised as a cartoon. Everything is about bold shapes, extreme contrast, and instant recognition. The head becomes almost perfectly circular. No nose, tiny mouth, massive eyes that take up most of the face. There's no room for subtlety here. You either commit to it or it falls apart. I kept the expression neutral but intense. In Powerpuff Girls, villains often look calm while doing horrible things, and that energy fits Varang surprisingly well. The red stripe is now a single solid vertical shape. No texture, no blending, just pure color. Same with the skin tone, flat, consistent and high contrast against the background. The body is barely there. Thin arms, simplified torso, and almost no anatomical detail. Waist up actually helps the style because you don't need to solve legs or complex poses. The headdress gets reduced to bold fans on both sides. I focus on making it real instantly, even at thumbnail size. Thick outlines, minimal interior detail, maximum shape clarity. What I love about this version is how extreme the transformation feels. We started with realism and now we're here. Same characters, same reference, but very different results. This is the kind of final transformation that makes this challenge fun to do. If you enjoyed the Style Swap challenge, I've got another one you'll probably love. I did the exact same challenge with Minecraft movie Steve, swapping him into 4 completely different styles, and the contrast there is just as wild. Click the video on screen to check that one out, and let me know in the comments which Varang style was your favorite, or which characters I should do next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.